I now see what Cherry had meant about the medical wing of the factory as we passed it by. The roof had completely collapsed, and the streams of water gushing down through the rubble and scrap didn't bode well for the building's structural strength either. More foreboding still was the fact we were being drawn deeper underground. Evidently, back before the war, the research wing that was involved in cutting ponies and sticking their brains in mechanized jars was the last thing they wanted on public display. Regardless of those facts, I was fighting to save some pony's life, and rescue Star. Save Cherry, and if I was not dead after all of that, and all the mystery that had followed me out from the labs. Moving my mind back to current dangers, it seemed I was not the only one who thought ill of the idea regarding the theft of a pony's brain. The many rusted corpses of brain bots down here in the lower halls were all smashed open as if the living components had broken free and crawled away in spite of their transformation. What remained of the facility's active defenses was just as relentless as any other security system I was used to dealing with. However, a fast array of automated turrets swiftly began to eat through my ammunition as well as my spark grenades. I couldn't help but admit to myself that after Overseer's daily game, I was somewhat thankful for a security system that only wanted to shoot me. I also had to thank the goddess for Cherry's lockpicking skills 10 times over as we passed several locking ammunition boxes and steel doors. It appeared somebody had been stocking up on guns and bullets down here, and the presence of spark stills led me to believe this was not a simple case of stockpiling simple firearms. Nevertheless, as we finally reached the bottom floor, the razor robot corpses began to descend, as did the turrets.
I think this is the research wing. The surgery room should be right through the holding pens and down the elevator.
Clip told us as he climbed up atop a small box to my left. We peered through a dirty glass window into a darkened room filled with mounds of rusted scrap and filthy streams of water. Deeper underground! Yippee! I mentally groaned. Yet the idea that our whole plan to get through Crimson Springs revolved around going underground turned my previous apprehension into a slowly severing frustration. I still haven't really considered how I was going to find the stable Star I've been taken to, nor what to do when I found out. Good. If I have to waste another shot on one of these stupid things, I swear I'm going to rip out my own feathers. Gina grumbled, shaking her wounded rings restlessly. I couldn't help but agree with the griffin as I reloaded my Style Blaster, no matter how much I didn't really like her. Clip pulled away from the windows and glanced back at us, grinning slightly. Despite everything, I was glad to see he was warming up to me, especially now I knew he was a good fighter. Not only that, but the Coles seemed to have a skill for navigation or just a better eye for the signs down here in this rusted maze of scrap junk and running water. Either way, we'd have quickly gotten lost without him. What was better still was that Cherry was getting far more confident with her new rifle as the stationary turns provided a fair amount of target practice when she wasn't looting rooms and opening and locked security doors. Come on, before the brain bots find out we're here. Cliff called a moment later, hopping down from the rusted crate and steadily trotting off down the corridor towards a door labeled Holding Block A. I motioned for Cherry to follow me as I followed Clip, Gina taking the rear guard. The sound of shambling metal hooves on the other side of the crumbling bricks made my ears twitch nervously as we reached another security door, and Cherry set to work opening it. Above us, the roof had collapsed, leaving a jagged hole to what appeared to be another manufacturing platform. A rusted old conveyor belt and several piles of sharp scrap metal had fallen through and now gushed the torrents of sickly brown water that poured into a small pool at our hooves. Somehow, I didn't think the drainage system in here had been made to cope with almost 2 centuries of rainfall like this. My pit-buck's clinking was the first kindly reminder that this water wasn't doing any of us any good either. The fact didn't change as the door opened and we finally entered a waterlogged room. Rows of empty cages flanked us on either side, their tops made of glass, as was the whole floor of the observation area above, the likes of which was half collapsed. Large plates of gritted metal looked like strange brown waterfalls as liquid gushed down over them. Floating in the field was several empty brain cases. Bones and sharp shards of broken glass shimmered in the frothy filth like gems. Was nothing new to me. To several medical beds I saw through back dark images of the Destiny labs. I said the long dead ponies strapped tightly to them.
How did any pony ever get away with this?
Sherry asked as we rounded one of the fallen roof segments and passed the medical bed covered by a bloody sheet. At least half of my attention was focused on Clip. Saguaro rose dangerously high on the smaller body.
It's what you equines did. Zebras, ponies, neither of you were any better than the other. All I did was dropping the spawns would spread out. You're kind of crazy to the rest of the world, Gino told her, not a hint of sympathy in her voice as it thrummed with a small amount of resentment. Cherry, however, didn't seem to expect an answer from anyone other than me and stammered at the Griffin's response. The whole world's always been fucked up, I corrected. In spite of a slight glance, Gina said nothing more. And what about you? You got a plan for getting through Crimson? You ever been in there before? Gina asked Clip, seeming to make the opportunity to make the conversation over silence no matter the personal cost to the cult. I grit my teeth again. Yet this was even worse of a place to start arguing with the Griffin. Clip shivered slightly, then nodded. For some reason, that made me feel more than a little sick. I couldn't help but get the sensation his guilt over something that wasn't his fault was forcing him to speak to us. I thought to tell him otherwise, yet that wasteland-hardened part of me reminded my compassion that the lives of all 5 of us were riding on his supposed secret path. Maybe that was what Gina was digging for. It was an example of the frame of mind I should, and usually did, possess. Right now, that analytical mind would know that I needed to know the full details of what we could expect to encounter sooner than later if we were going to make this work. I was taken in a few months ago. I was traveling with a caravan with my parents when they took us. I used to hear slaves talking about secret tunnels under the city. One they called the Screamer Tunnel, led right out on both ends of the city. That's where the slavers apparently got their screams from, and nobody ever went down there. He trailed off, seeming to take great interest in reloading his shotgun as opposed to explanation. How do slavers get screams? Are things in them? How did that work? I shuddered at the thought. Evidently, the down my face must have been apparent as he stood and corrected himself. But they also said about ponies using it to get out too. I heard about it from more than just one pony. Plus, some other ponies say the slavers were just laying them through the tunnels. He added, with a naive hint of hope. I dosed my fears slightly if there was a tunnel full of monsters I could handle. A cautious glance Cherry shot me, however, shifted my question. How'd you get out the first time? I asked, as if it would somehow present me with another idea. Clip sniffed, finishing his reload. They were gonna train me out to the raiders. It's all part of the agreement they got. Some slaves go to them along with some of their rage cure and they stand guard the outer ruins. I was at the gate with all the other slaves they were going to train when it was attacked. Got out with Sky and Orker. They were one of the caravans coming in. That's when they chased us in here, he explained. I merely sighed. So much for alternatives. I'd seen the gate to the city and there was certainly no way to get past it without being a slave or a slaver. Or dead, I might add it bluntly. It was hard to believe that anybody would dare attack the river fortification. Then again, they were at war with the Rangers, and if there were any ponies in the wasteland that underestimated slavers, it was those steel fiends. So, you didn't know who saved you? Jerry asked skeptically, as if she were somehow ashamed she had not been allowed the privilege. He gave a slight shrug. I didn't think any pony was out to save us. We're not saved. If I had to guess, I'd say it was the Rangers trying to get a heavy hit on the Brazens, he told us. I shied away. He was right. We weren't saved. This was a wasteland, and being safe was a luxury it didn't bestow generously if it did at all. Simplicity didn't seem to be a virtue of the post-apocalyptic shithole either, as I learned a moment later. Hostile life signs detected. I predict a 99.9% chance it will be terminated immediately.
came a cool feminine voice, almost too much like a filly. The tracker monster that rolled around the corner at the far end of the holding area was certainly no filly, nor were the bright beams it fired in our direction. Shit! I exclaimed in frustration as the thing rolled into range of my FES. Well, at least can't blame obliviousness this time, I stated. Remind me that I really didn't know how to use the new layout in my vision. Up ahead, watch out! The moment the words left my muzzle, we all darted for cover behind the rusted debris strewn across the flooded room. Please don't hide. We only want to kill you because you're not supposed to be here. Came the brain boss' tinny voice again. The hatred for anything mechanical was growing in me at the sound of its stupid voice and metal hooves grinding in the wire. Then the beams firing from its open muzzle momentarily stopped, and laid into the robot with several sharp energy blasts. It fell into the water in a shower of sparks and steam. As soon as his hostile attack, my FES blinked out. 2 more replaced it from the far end of the hall. Please, your cooperation will be rewarded. You'll never have to worry about anything else again. That offer was almost tempting. Looking across the room, I saw Gina ducking down in one of the cages. Yet there was no sign to clip. My heart jumped at that realization, and I looked across the wire in case the coal had fallen. A robot attacker all but forgotten. A loud bang, responsibility shot rang out over my head as Jerry fired, smashing one of the brain boss glass craniums in the shower of sharp and sickly green liquid. Please come out. We only want to be your friends. The last robot's words were cut off by a loud metal clang and a splash as the metal ventilation above it fell down, smashing his brain case to pieces. All 3 of us peered up from our cover as the robot slumped into the water. The Eclipse stood above us upon a severed length of roof ventilation, a screwdriver in his mouth. You just gotta get them in the head, he said earnestly, going down to the fallen robots. Sorry I took it without asking. Clep apologized to Cherry as she slipped the screwdriver back into her bags. Yet the pink mare looked impressed, if nothing else. It's fine. I'm just surprised at how quickly you were able to get up there without any of us noticing, she asked, and he looked at least a little proud of himself. You spend time with slave pens and you learn how to get away from ponies. I don't have to take the bigger pony scenes without getting caught, he admitted, brushing one of his hooves sheepishly along the gray floor at that latter part. Jerry looked like she was admiring some adorable kitten as he did that. I was just trying not to think about how much he reminded me of my brother. Gina merely huffed as the elevator gave a shunting sound and began to descend. Don't see why those 3 weren't smashed up as the rest of the robots down here, she grumbled, motioning in the direction we come from with the claw. I could see a reason. The sight of the busted robots back in the halls didn't strike me as a reprieve. Careful what you wish for, I warned. But the disgruntled Griffin didn't respond. The sights before us as the elevator opened confirmed this was the right place. It stood the large operating room. Several medical beds were sat below a grasping outfit with all kinds of gruesome arcane technology and large surgical lights. Thankfully, one of the blood-stained beds was an actual pony, and that pony had long since brought to naught but bones. Even if the clean hole bored into the skull made me wince. Keep an eye out for anything we can use, I instructed. As we entered the room and spread out. The look into her face told me she didn't want to be too far away from me, especially after what had happened the last time. But as I looked at her timid expression, I couldn't help but think how cute she looked. Skies rose about where we were at night and repeated with my mind. But my stupid, sex-driven brain was simply trying to tell a chase a cute pink mare. Goddess damn me, I wasn't trying to do that to her. In an attempt to draw my eyes away from her flanks, I moved to the far side of the room. Cerebral reconfiguration was down here, and beyond that was a door marked incineration and acid assembly. The sight of no more medical beds was a welcome relief, even if the x-rays on the wall still made me feel sick. Ultimately, it seemed my sense of direction had served me well as I closed the door and the left ladled emergency medical. Over there! I called back to the others. Both Cherry and Clip were quick to appear in the doorway. Well, ain't you fast? Gina muttered as she approached the medical room last. I shot her a disapproving look as Cherry moved over to the medical's room's door and began to work on its lock. It just means that we get to spend less time down here, I retorted. And I could see she was at least somewhat in agreement, even if the only response she gave me was a disgruntled snort. Good. Now if you excuse me, I'm going to salvage some of this shit. Your nose brains in jars myself or something. Might make it worth the time we wasted coming down here. She responded snidely. Won't count on it. Cherry muttered half-heartedly as she worked, only for her voice to soften as she realized what she so blindly said. Almost instinctively, I stepped between her and the griffin. Yeah, as better as Sheena was, she didn't seem to want to use anything more than sour words. So she really has got a sharp tongue under all that stupidity. She's not completely hopeless then, Sheena stated. To hear Cherry falter in her work, that desire to resist an argument was ringing out as I locked eyes with the griffin. Just go salvage your shit if you really think that is that much of a waste of time. You know where we are if you need help, I retorted bitterly, and she turned away with a flick of her tail. I'll keep that in mind, she added in an equally sarcastic tone. The moment she disappeared into the chamber marked incineration. Flip back to Cherry. The pink mirror had stopped trying to open the door and was just sat there while Clip looked between us. The second confirmation management experience was quite visible. Don't listen to her. She's about the most honest hound I've ever met, and that still equates to nothing, I assured her. But near the moment I said that it was not enough to disprove with the griffin's words. Well, because Shannon wasn't the only one who believed them. She's right though, isn't she? I know how you feel too. And after last night, I don't blame you, she made. Now I couldn't see the Cherry I was trying to save. It's all hopeless mirror and rescue from the factory. I shook my head, and every plan that I had for such a situation failed me. What could I tell her? After what I'd said about how important she was compared to other ponies, what I'd done to keep her away from harm? There was nothing I could do but admit that I didn't think she was ready for most of this. And glass they were missing here all confirmed that. Look, you're not useless if you're the only pony who could open this, I assured her, tapping the medical room's door. And if we couldn't get in there, Orc would die, I added, then winced at my own bluntness. That was the only one that reminder seemed to sting, however. Cherry was far too caught up on something else. God says something like this was enough to bring her down. Then maybe Gina was even more right. I redirected my thoughts from such negative thinking. It was a thought I did not care for certain. I'm sure you'd have found a way without me, she retorted, glancing at my weapons. It turned so they were removed from view, then sighed. Well, it make me feel good about it, though, I offered, her mind providing me with very little in the way of intelligent responses. As improvised as my words were, they at least seemed to make her think. She's right. I didn't really think any other than raiders would come find us when Sky sent that broadcast, let alone come down here to help us, Clip added. And I smiled apprehensively at the cold support. It looks as if he believed he were repaying me for what he'd done somewhat at that. Cherry stared at Clip's words, then levitated her tools back up to the lock. You're the last pony I think is useless, I told her kindly as she sent back to work. She smiled. Once again, I could not ignore what Sky had said. I had to shake such mental distractions off and step back. I needed another distraction. I needed to prove to Cherry she wasn't useless. With those ideas, my mind set onto one thing. Years of mercenary rivalry didn't help the struggle either as I looked at the door into the incineration room. I'm going to have a word with our friend. Besides, she won't wander off alone, no matter how tough she thinks she is, I stated, and trod for the door. Neither should you, Cherry called back, and I paused. Don't worry. I'd have to be stupid to go too far from you again. I assured with a slight smile. Okay, so I could let my more playful nature shine through. Even so, that was only because I was going outside within moments of saying that was a bad idea.